The Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports, Honorable Herman Longsworth, today visited the Department of Youth Services here in this municipality. The minister also visited with some young people who shared many concerns with him. He tells us about the purpose of his visit.
This is a continuation of my tour of the country, and the purpose of the tour is basically to continue the interaction that we have started since the beginning of this term. Now, we are trying our best to make the youth appreciate that they must be a part of their development. And so my tour is basically to sit with them and to dialogue with them and to have them really participate in what will happen for them in the future.
Minister, there have been many cries from a number of your staff members about the lack of finance and relevant resources to design and implement structured programs for young people in this area. Could you talk to us about that?
There is always, we live in a real world, and there is always a restriction on the amount of resources we have. Certainly may feel that we don't get the requisite amount of resources to do the things we need to do out of what exists. But that is an argument for me at Cabinet. However, we do the best we can with the resources we have. What I want to make clear, though, to all our youth and to the general populace is that we must get together and work as a group. We can't sit back and expect government to do everything. Communities must get involved. The Department of Youth has the wherewithal to work with organizations, organize youth, to develop them and to move them forward. There are various initiatives that are available to our youth, but they must be properly organized and they must work with the youth department. The youth department has representation in every district town. They must come to the youth department, sit with the youth department, and find out what is available. Because our resources are small. We can't get to everybody. We have an office, they can get to us. And that is the best way for them, for youth especially, to find out what is available to them.
You spoke to young people earlier about sporting facilities because I understand that was one of their concerns. Could you speak to us about the sporting facilities that you have in mind?
The Prime Minister has said that he is going to be investing a good bit of money in sporting facilities across the country, starting in Belize City and going out to the district towns. So we expect that in the very near future there is going to be a decent facility in each district town. And I am hoping that whatever facilities we build will play a dual role, will allow for community activities as well as sporting activities. So I am hopeful, I'm very, very hopeful that in the very near future, youth will have a place where they can go to especially to practice the arts, which is somewhat lacking in a lot of our district towns at the moment.
Kurt Augustus is the Southern Regional Manager for the Youth Department. He speaks to us about a youth policy that was recently approved by government.
Yes, the youth policy was recently approved in January. So with the approval of the youth policy, at this point will now dictate the pace in terms of how the department will move in terms of involving young people. For example, when I won't go into details of the launching of the youth policy and leave that to the actual launching, we can tell you that the youth policy, you will see young people, stakeholders, and the government discussing at the micro, the meso, and the macro level. Whereas you have noticed that young people will actually have a say in terms of their development and the country development. For example, one of the biggest things out of the youth policy, you will find we have a National Youth Council. The National Youth Council now, this one gives young people representation at every level, even at the department administration level, where young people must sit down and have strong say in terms of their direction. Well, the commission of the council, that basically talk about the structure in terms of the autonomy that the council, the youth council will have. You talk about the benefits. You talk about the rules and regulation of the council, and talk about all the different in terms of people and the type of characters who are attracted to the National Youth Council.
The minister is being accompanied by other members of his ministry. The minister's next stop will be Punta Gorda later today. Reporting for Love News, Harry Arzu in Dangriga.